CBS News. So you said that you started following this car after it showed up at a place associated with ISIS. In retrospect, was that place associated with ISIS? And this was described as an over-the-horizon strike, which is what the U.S. is going to be relying on from now on in Afghanistan. So what does this incident say about the reliability of future strikes against terrorist threats in Afghanistan?
Sure, David. So I'll take the first part of your question and begin with that. So point one on the map, we do assess very definitely associated with ISIS-K. In fact, a little less than 24 hours later, rockets will be launched from that point against the airfield. So we had very good intelligence to make us think point one on the map was in fact an area where ISIS was centered. So I think that was a very good intelligence supported that belief. Now, the second part of your question about whether this will affect future OTH operations. Let me be clear. This was a self-defense strike taken under self-defense rules of engagement based on an imminent threat to attack us. That is not the way that we would strike in an OTH mission going into Afghanistan against ISIS-K targets. For one thing, that will not be a self-defense strike. It'll be done under different rules of engagement. So, and we would have a lot more opportunity probably than we had under this extreme time pressure to take a look at the target, to use a phrase that you'll be familiar with, to soak the target with multiple platforms, to have an opportunity to develop extended pattern of life. None of these things were available to us given the urgent and pressing nature of the imminent threat to our forces.
Phil, are you considering reparations for the victims here? And what happened with this strike say to you about the over-horizon capability that we've been hearing so much about? What are the risks involved with carrying out strikes when you don't have people on the ground in Afghanistan going forward?
Sure. So as I said in my statement, we are considering ex gratia or reparations for this, and that'll ultimately be a matter for policy. So we're in consultation with the Office of the Secretary of Defense to determine the way forward there. As you will also understand, it's very difficult to reach out on the ground in Afghanistan, to actually reach people. But we are very interested in doing that, and we'll move on it based on our ability to do that. So your question about this and OTH, I'll sort of echo what I said to David. I would reject a parallel between this operation and an over-the-horizon strike against an ISIS-K target. Again, because we will have an opportunity to further develop the target in time, to look at pattern of life. That time was not available to us because this was imminent threat to our forces. It's important that I emphasize that. We did not have the luxury of time to develop pattern of life and to do a number of other things. We struck under the theory of reasonable certainty. Probably our strikes in Afghanistan going forward will be under a higher standard. That's a policy matter, not a purely military matter. But I don't think you should draw any conclusions about our ability to strike in Afghanistan against ISIS-K targets in the future based on this particular strike.
Sylvie.
Hello, General. Sylvie Lantom from AFP. You said that you had intelligence about a threat emanating from a white Toyota. So was it this intelligence was not good, or there was another white Toyota which was dangerous and nothing happened from another white Toyota?
So I would tell you this. Clearly, our intelligence was wrong on this particular white Toyota Corolla. At the same time, we undertook a variety of things to make it hard for them to get at us during this period of time. We closed the gates, which we didn't want to do at HKIA during this period of time as force protection. We were very active with our ISR overhead, which we know is very, often has a suppressive effect on their activities. We still took rockets the next day, as you know, and they fired those rockets from near point one and from other places actually near the route of this vehicle. But I would tell you unequivocally in this case, clearly the intelligence was wrong on this vehicle. And we certainly regret that, as I've been very clear.
Let me go to the phones.